There's something hauntingly familiar about you. You walk through life with a gaze that seems to see through centuries, a quiet observer of a world that rushes too fast to notice the invisible threads that connect everything. You've always known there's something different about you, not better, not worse, but older, deeper. As if your soul has lived through lifetimes, carrying lessons you never consciously learned, but somehow already understand. And if you're an INFJ, this feeling isn't an illusion. It's the mark of an old soul. A being who moves differently, sees differently, and loves differently, because your spirit operates from a higher frequency most people haven't reached yet. But there's something even rarer, something only old soul INFJs do, something that sets them apart not just from the crowd, but even from other INFJs. Today, we'll step into those 7 secret behaviors, the ones that reveal your soul's true age. 1. They speak in energies, not words. There's a language old soul INFJs speak that few can hear. It's not verbal, it's vibrational. They don't just listen to what someone says, they feel the undercurrent, the subtle frequency behind the words. When someone tells them, "I'm fine," they hear the fracture hiding beneath the syllables. When someone smiles, they sense whether it's genuine or just armor. And when silence fills the air, they can almost touch the truth that lingers unspoken. Only an old soul INFJ understands this, that human communication isn't made of words, but of energy. They've evolved past the surface language of the mind and now communicate through intuition, emotion, and resonance. It's why people often tell them, "I don't know why, but I feel safe with you." Or, "You always seem to understand what I can't say." But what most people don't realize is, this energetic empathy is exhausting. Old soul INFJs absorb frequencies the way sponges absorb water. They read rooms before anyone enters, sense heartbreak behind jokes, and feel deception as if it were static electricity in the air. Their wisdom isn't intellectual, it's spiritual. It's the silent understanding that what's invisible is more real than what's visible. And that's why old soul INFJs often crave solitude. Because silence is not empty to them, it's full of information, truth, and peace. 2. They love without possessing. There's a sacred kind of love that only old soul INFJs know how to give, a love that doesn't seek to own, control, or demand. It's a love that says, "I see you, I understand you, and I want your soul to be free." They've lived enough emotional lifetimes, even within this one, to know that true connection isn't about keeping someone close, but about allowing them to be who they are. When they love, they do it with reverence. They hold people gently, knowing that everything in life, every person, every experience, is borrowed time. And that's why when an INFJ old soul lets you go, it's not out of indifference, it's out of understanding. They know that love, at its highest form, is freedom. That's why they often confuse people, because they love with intensity yet detach with grace. They'll pour their soul into you but never chain your wings. They'll want you deeply, but never need you desperately. Because for them, love is not about possession. It's about evolution. And while others fall into love, old soul INFJs rise into it, using it as a sacred mirror to grow, heal, and awaken. 3. They disappear to return to themselves. Disappearing isn't avoidance for the old soul INFJ, it's maintenance. They vanish not because they stop caring, but because the world becomes too loud, too heavy, too fragmented. They disappear because they need to remember what's theirs and what's borrowed, what belongs to their soul and what was absorbed from others. Old soul INFJs live in constant energetic exchange with the world. Every interaction adds another vibration to their internal symphony. But over time, it becomes noise. So, they step away, not out of rejection, but resurrection. When an INFJ disappears, it's not a shutdown, it's a reboot. It's their soul saying, I need to hear my own voice again. They retreat into books, nature, music, or simply silence, anything that brings them back to the frequency of truth. And when they return, they often carry a new layer of wisdom, as if their solitude refined them. To most people, this looks like inconsistency. But to the INFJ old soul, it's survival. It's how they cleanse their empathy, sharpen their vision, and strengthen their spirit. They know that sometimes, stepping back is the only way to step forward in alignment. 4. They refuse to play the game of pretending. Old soul INFJs have seen enough. They've witnessed the masks, the egos, the performances that people call normal, and they simply refuse to participate anymore. They've reached a stage in their inner evolution where pretending feels like a betrayal of the soul. They can't force laughter at shallow conversations. They can't chase validation or popularity. They can't dim their truth to make others comfortable. They would rather stand alone in authenticity than be applauded in disguise. This refusal often isolates them, because society rewards those who play the game, not those who expose it. But old soul INFJs don't see isolation as punishment. They see it as purification. They are willing to lose people, opportunities, and comfort if it means keeping their integrity intact. Because they know that what's fake may glitter for a while, but only truth endures. So, when others wonder why they're so quiet in social situations, why they don't fit into trends, or why they're not chasing what everyone else is chasing, it's because they've already outgrown that level of existence. They're not living for applause anymore. They're living for alignment. 5. They see time differently. For old soul INFJs, time isn't linear, it's layered. They live in multiple timelines simultaneously. The past they can't forget, the present they feel deeply, and the future they already sense approaching. They feel like ancient beings trapped in modern bodies, navigating a world that feels too young for their spirit. This is why they're nostalgic for things they've never lived, drawn to eras they've never known, and fascinated by wisdom that seems to come from nowhere. When others rush, they slow down. When others seek the next thrill, they find beauty in stillness. Because old soul INFJs know that meaning lives in the in-between, the pauses, the quiet transitions, the unspoken moments. They're not afraid of time passing, they're afraid of not living consciously through it. And that's why their lives often seem unconventional. They might take detours, delays, or spiritual breaks that others can't understand. But to them, every moment, even the painful ones, is part of the soul's education. To an old soul INFJ, life isn't a race, it's a pilgrimage. 6. They sense the purpose beneath pain. Old soul INFJs have a rare ability. They can find meaning even in suffering. They've been through darkness, deep, quiet, invisible battles that no one saw. But they didn't come out bitter. They came out illuminated. Where most people see chaos, they see transformation. Where others curse the storm, they listen to what it's trying to teach. That's the old soul within them, the part that knows pain isn't punishment, it's preparation. They understand that growth isn't comfortable, that awakening requires destruction, and that sometimes the soul must be broken open to expand. So when life knocks them down, they don't ask, why me? They ask, what is this teaching me? This mindset is what gives old soul INFJs their emotional depth, their calm in crisis, and their resilience in heartbreak. Because they've learned, often through experience, that the light doesn't come after the darkness. It's born within it. They're alchemists of the soul, turning pain into empathy, chaos into clarity, and endings into beginnings. 7. They live as teachers without trying to teach. Here's the quiet truth. Old soul INFJs don't try to lead, but they end up leading anyway. Their presence itself is instruction. Their words, even whispered, carry the weight of lifetimes. Their stillness becomes a lesson in self-awareness for others. They don't preach, they embody. People leave their conversations feeling strangely awakened, more self-aware, more honest. Because the INFJ old soul doesn't tell people who to be. They remind them who they already are. Their life becomes a mirror, not of perfection, but of authenticity. And through that, they awaken something ancient in others too. They move through the world like quiet healers, not waving banners, but planting seeds. Seeds of introspection. Seeds of awareness. Seeds of truth. And when they walk away, they don't look back for applause. They know the ripples they've created will echo long after their presence fades. Because that's what old souls do. They leave light where they go, and wisdom where they've been. You've probably always felt older than your age, INFJ. As a child, you wondered why the world seemed so loud and unkind. As an adult, you carry both empathy and exhaustion, knowing too much, feeling too deeply, loving too quietly. But what if that wasn't a curse? What if it was proof that your soul is ancient, that you came here not just to exist, but to remember? To remember how to love without fear, how to see without judgment, and how to live without losing your truth. You, dear INFJ, are not behind. You're not out of place. You're not too sensitive or too strange. You are an old soul, rediscovering the wisdom the world has forgotten. And every time you choose authenticity over approval, silence over noise, depth over comfort, you are fulfilling your purpose. So keep shining quietly. Keep loving courageously. Keep walking the lonely but sacred path that only old souls understand. Because the world doesn't need you to change. It needs you to remember who you are.